Hi guys, JT here. Today I'm bringing you some information on Digiphile's Boomer Shooter Blueprint Bundle of February 2026. To help you answer the question, should you buy it? By using the links in the description below, you'll gain access to this bundle and support the channel in the process. Before I begin, I want to thank you the viewers for watching my silly videos. I hope they're helpful. Most importantly, knowing that you're watching it means the world. But first, a word from our sponsor, JT After Dark. You've read the threads, you've seen the warnings, but you haven't heard them like this. I'm JT. I take the internet's most terrifying stories and give them a voice. From Reddit's deepest archives to the legends that haunt the web, I bring the horror to life. Join me on JT After Dark. Subscribe now and let's see what's hiding in the shadows. Anyway, let's get into this. At number 1 we have Selaco, an intense original shooter channeling the DNA of classics like Fear and Half-Life. As Don Collins, a security captain on a beleaguered space station, you are thrust into a brutal invasion. Built on GZ Doom, this game feels decidedly modern, prioritizing tactical high-speed combat above all else. The AI is a true highlight here. Enemies do not just stand around. They flank, suppress, and force you to adapt constantly. You're not merely shooting, you're surviving. The environment is highly destructible, turning polished offices into debris-filled war zones. Weapon kits allow you to tailor your loadout, ensuring you have the tools to handle escalating threats. Lawrence Steele's neon-drenched soundtrack perfectly pulses with every firefight, elevating the adrenaline. Despite being in early access, the polish is stunning, though you should be warned, this game is unforgiving. If you struggle, lower the difficulty setting immediately. The game will humble you quickly. While the current narrative only covers the first chapter and leaves you hanging, the sheer volume of content, replayability, and type movement makes it essential. You receive a massive immersive world that feels alive with detail, even if you occasionally get lost in its sprawling complex corridors. If you love challenging tactical shooters that reward aggression and precision, Selaco is a must-play. It is not merely a mod on steroids. It is a masterclass in design. Don't wait for the full release. Jump in now, optimize your settings, and prepare for a brilliant, brutal experience you will not forget. At number 2 we have I Am Your Beast, a fast-paced first-person shooter with a striking comic book aesthetic that feels like a high-octane blend of 13, Rambo, and Doom. You play as Alfonso Hoarding, a retired secret agent living a quiet life in the forest, who is forced back into action when General Burke refuses to let him be. The game is split into short, intense missions across 4 modes: Story, Challenge, COI Support Group, and Cold Sweat. Your primary objective is to complete varied tasks, from destroying satellite uplinks to surviving waves, all while maintaining breakneck speed. You're rewarded with rankings from D to S based on your efficiency and style. You have an incredible toolkit at your disposal. You can hit-stomp enemies like Mario, use tree barks as a weapon, or snatch guns mid-air. When you run out of ammo, you simply hurl your weapon at the next guard to keep the momentum alive. The experience is bolstered by a fantastic synth-heavy soundtrack and top-tier voice acting that brings the narrative to life through snappy radio chatter. However, your flow might occasionally be interrupted by minor environmental obstacles, and you may find visibility difficult during the darker nighttime missions. Despite these small hurdles, the game offers immense replayability through bonus objectives and score chasing. If you crave a stylish one-more-go murder ballet that respects your time while pushing your reflexes to the limit, this is an essential experience. It is a lean, mean, and brilliantly executed thrill ride. At number 3 we have MULLET MADJACK, an ultra-fast single-player FPS that plunges you into a hyper-stylized world inspired by 80s and 90s OVA anime. You take the role of Jack, a moderator tasked with rescuing a kidnapped influencer princess from a tower filled with murderous robot billionaires. The core hook is your literal deadline. You have only 10 seconds to live. Your life force functions as a countdown timer, and the only way to keep your heart beating is to slaughter robots to secure a dopamine hit for your demanding audience. The gameplay loop is a masterful blend of boomer shooter speed and roguelike progression. Every kill adds precious seconds back to your clock, but you're encouraged to be creative. Kicking enemies into industrial fans or shooting them in the head grants more time than a standard kill, pushing you into a glorious violent flow state. Between randomized floors, you choose from various upgrades, ranging from elemental katanas and railguns to bizarre perks like nutshot bonuses or slow motion death saves, ensuring no two runs feel identical. Visually, the game is a vibrant explosion of vaporwave aesthetics and high-octane gore. While the boss fights occasionally lack the frantic tension of the main floors by removing the timer, the sheer style and responsiveness of the combat more than compensate. It is a loud, unapologetic, and addictive experience that captures the just one more run feeling perfectly. If you enjoy breakneck action and retro aesthetics, this is a masterpiece of kinetic energy. At number 6 we have Beyond Citadel, a tactical retro FPS and the sequel to the 2020 cult hit The Citadel. You step into the boots of the Martyr, a last resort soldier of the Seven Angels tasked with cancelling the apocalypse by overthrowing the Trumpeters. It is a high-octane boomer shooter that blends 2.5D anime aesthetics with hyper-violent, realistic gunplay mechanics. The centerpiece of your experience is the sophisticated weapon system. Unlike standard shooters, you must master a rhythmic manual reload process, ejecting mags, inserting fresh ones, and cocking the bolt, which heightens tension during frantic firefights. With over 24 weapons, from futuristic energy rifles to the powerful 50 cal whale gun, the tactile clicky-clack of firearms feels incredibly rewarding once you find your flow. Movement is equally refined, allowing you to double jump, dash, and peek corners through nearly 40 levels. However, you'll notice a lack of cohesion as the game progresses. While early levels offer tight, claustrophobic corridor shooting, later stages expand into massive open battlefields that can feel disjointed or tedious due to find for items tropes. The visual design leans heavily into a grim grey and blue palette that may lead to aesthetic fatigue. Furthermore, the game's horny for violence philosophy is polarizing. You'll encounter explicit gore, questionable artistic choices, and a suggestive tone that borders on the exploitative. If you can look past its rough edges and scruffy translation, you'll find some of the most satisfyingly mechanical gunplay currently available in the indie scene. At number 5 we have Warhammer 40,000 Boltgun, a fast-paced boomer shooter that throws you into the bulky boots of an Ultramarine Sternguard veteran, delivering a glorious blend of old-school FPS chaos and modern slickness. If you've ever loved Doom, Quake, or Duke Nukem, this one speaks your language, loudly, and with bolter fire. You're dropped into the grim-dark world of Forge World Graia, tasked with purging heretics for the Inquisition. The story, though sparse, works as a background hum to the carnage. Unfortunately, key narrative bits, like the Servo Skull's translated speech, are easy to miss during intense firefights. There is no codex to catch up later, which feels like a lost opportunity, especially for a 40k game, but where Boltgun absolutely shines is in gameplay. You're fast, agile, and deadly. The movement is so fluid, it borders on Warframe-like. Whether charging, slashing with your chainsword, or swapping between weapons mid-combat, everything feels satisfying. The arsenal is brutal and ever-expanding, encouraging constant weapon switching and strategy on the fly. Visually, it nails the retro-modern aesthetic. Enemies are 2D sprites in 3D spaces, and it all blends beautifully. The warp sections are especially memorable, dizzying, chaotic, and deeply atmospheric. Each level throws more twisted enemies at you, escalating the threat without losing its pace. If you have a Steam Deck, it's a dream. With a little tweaking, you get solid performance and decent battery life, though mouse and keyboard still offer the purest experience. Warhammer 40k Boltgun is not just one of the best Warhammer games, it's one of the best retro-inspired shooters around. If you're craving relentless stylish carnage with just enough lore to keep the 40k flavor strong, this is a must-play. You will not stop until every heretic is a smear on the wall. At number 6 we have INCISION, a brutal, fast-paced retro-style first-person shooter that throws you straight into a nightmarish world of flesh, metal, and gore. Inspired by classics like Doom, Quake, and Blood, it is a merciless boomer shooter that demands constant movement, sharp reflexes, and precise aim. Hesitation will get you killed, and mercy is a weakness. You'll navigate the grotesque industrial mazes, transform cityscapes, and surreal alien structures while taking on a relentless roster of enemies, from augmented soldiers and ricocheting saw-wielding maniacs to towering otherworldly abominations. Your arsenal is varied, satisfying, and loud. Each weapon includes alt-fire modes, letting you unleash everything from incendiary rockets and flamethrower fuel explosions to twirling revolver crits and the devastating saw spear. Ammo and extra lives are plentiful, but precious, as INCISION uses a hardcore life system. Run out, and you restart the level from scratch. This adds tension and reward to every firefight, even if the system can occasionally frustrate. The world is visually striking, blending rustic industrial design with pulsating organic horrors. Level layouts are thoughtful, providing verticality, secrets, and set pieces that enhance the gameplay rather than block it. Enemies are aggressive, fast, and deadly, and boss fights, while occasionally punishing, are spectacular and satisfying. The soundtrack perfectly complements the chaos, delivering adrenaline-pumping metal and atmospheric horror. INCISION is unforgiving, gory, and relentless, a must-play for fans of old-school FPS carnage who want a true test of skill. At number 7 we have CULTIC Chapter 1, a masterfully crafted retro-inspired first-person shooter that serves as a spiritual successor to the 90s classic Blood. You step into the boots of a disgraced detective who, after being left for dead in a mass grave, must wage a one-man war against a twisted supernatural cult. From the moment you crawl out of the dirt and grab your hatchet, you're thrust into a gritty mid-century world where every gunshot carries immense weight and every shadow feels predatory. The gameplay is a seamless blend of old-school boomer shooter speed and modern tactical fluidity. You can slide, dodge, and jump kick through encounters, turning combat into a brutal, bloody ballet. You'll find the arsenal deeply satisfying, featuring realistic firearms like the Luger and sawed-off shotgun, all of which you can upgrade using hidden parts to refine your lethality. Precision is rewarded. Chaining headshots triggers a slow motion effect that allows you to dismantle rooms of cultists with surgical efficiency. Visually, the game is striking, utilizing a crispy lo-fi aesthetic with a muted earthy color palette that perfectly captures the sense of 1960s dread. The atmosphere shifts brilliantly between wide-open combat arenas and claustrophobic horror segments, like the haunting asylum levels where you must rely on a flickering lighter. Though the boss fights can feel a bit underwhelming, and the levels share a similar grimy tone, the 10-level campaign is an astonishing solo developer achievement. It is a descent into madness you simply shouldn't miss. At number 8 we have CULTIC Chapter 2, the highly anticipated conclusion to Jason Smith's retro-inspired masterpiece, picking up where the disgraced detective left off. You awaken in a morgue, stubbornly refusing to stay dead, only to find the cult's influence has ravaged the city of New Grandewell. This installment doubles down on everything that made the original a boomer shooter stand out: chunky voxel environments, grisly 2D sprites, and a haunting melancholic atmosphere. As you navigate through 13 sprawling levels, ranging from blood-drenched slaughterhouses to eerie carnival fairgrounds, you'll notice a significant jump in scale. The level design is more ambitious, though you might find the lack of an auto-map frustrating when hunting for keys in these massive environments. To help you survive the relentless waves of fanatics, your arsenal expands with powerful additions like the SASG pump-action shotgun and a heavy-hitting magnum revolver. You can even upgrade your hatchets with a slow-motion effect for precision headshots. The game masterfully balances high-octane arena combat with genuine survival horror dread. You'll feel a tension spike as you transition from sniping cultists in ruined streets to exploring a pitch-black manor where statues suddenly spring to life. While some may find the backtracking and enemy density a bit more taxing than Chapter 1, the visceral gunplay and exhilarating boss fights remain top tier. Whether you're upgrading your tools at a workbench or fighting for your life in the expanded survival mode, this chapter confirms CULTIC as a modern classic of the genre. At number 9 we have Warhammer 40,000 Boltgun, Forges of Corruption, a high-octane expansion that revitalizes the pixelated carnage of the original boomer shooter. Returning to the world of Graia as the indomitable Malum Cato, you're tasked with purging the Manufactorum Sector Gamma 75B, a massive industrial complex twisted by the Dark Mechanicum. This DLC provides 5 sprawling new levels that lean into the game's strengths: verticality, dense environmental storytelling, and relentless gore-filled combat. You'll find the arsenal expanded with 2 devastating additions: the heavy-hitting missile launcher and the multi-melta, a short-range powerhouse that incinerates anything in its path. These tools are essential because the difficulty has been ratcheted up. You'll square off against formidable new foes like the missile-launching Havocs, lightning-clawed Terminators, and the terrifying Hellbrute, a mechanical monstrosity that can shred your health in seconds. One of the most significant upgrades you'll notice is the new navigation system. By addressing the base game's biggest flaw, it provides objective markers and pathfinding lines so you can focus on the slaughter rather than getting lost in the corridors. Additionally, the inclusion of a free Horde mode offers endless waves of heretics for those seeking a pure combat experience. Clocking in at around 3 to 4 hours, Forges of Corruption feels like a polished epilogue. If you enjoyed the visceral rhythm of the base game, this expansion offers exactly what you want. Better level design, tougher challenges, and more glorious way to serve the Emperor. It's an essential, blood-soaked homecoming. And number 10 we have El Paso Elsewhere, a surreal neo-noir third-person shooter that functions as a haunting love letter to classic titles like Max Payne. You step into the worn-out shoes of James Savage, a folklore expert and recovering addict who arrives at a reality-shifting motel in Texas. Your mission is grim. You must fight through 50 floors of a supernatural void to stop your ex-girlfriend Draculae from completing a ritual that will end the world. The gameplay centers on high-octane gunplay and the iconic bullet time mechanic. You'll find yourself diving through the air in slow motion, dual-wielding pistols or pumping shotguns to shred through hordes of werewolves, mummies, and biblically accurate angels. Between the frantic bouts of violence, the game forces you to manage resources like ammo and painkillers while navigating increasingly trippy, low-poly environments that defy physics. What truly elevates your experience beyond a simple retro throwback is the narrative depth. Through expertly voiced monologues and surreal cutscenes, you explore the complexities of a toxic relationship and the lingering trauma of heartbreak. While the level design can sometimes feel repetitive or labyrinthine, the atmosphere is bolstered by a pulse-punning original hip-hop soundtrack that perfectly matches the game's gritty, hallucinatory vibe. You're not just playing a shooter, you're witnessing a raw, personal descent into a cosmic heartbreak. Despite some mechanical clunkiness, the game carves out a unique identity, proving that indie titles can deliver a cinematic, emotionally resonant triumph through bold style and sharp writing. And that's all for this bundle. This is an absolute DPS check for your wallet. For $17, you're snagging S-tier bangers like Selaco, Boltgun, and MULLET MADJACK. It's basically a cheat code for anyone building a retro FPS backlog. Even if you've got dupes, the credit exchange system is a massive quality of life win. Whether you're here for the pixel gore or the high-octane movement, this bundle is a certified GG. Grab it before it's game over on this deal. In any case, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If this video was helpful, feel free to leave a like and subscribe, and maybe consider buying the channel a coffee. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.